Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish series stars. I hope your day is bright and your heart open, because today we're diving into a topic that so many of you asked us to explore, one that gently nudges us to reflect on love, on connection, and on the words that keep echoing long after an interview ends or a scene fades to black. Our theme is as evocative as it sounds, Love in Elçin's Heart, by Barış. His words will really make you think. So let's move past the headlines and the noise, and try to trace the subtleties hidden in their public moments, the little clues that hint at something deeper. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to Turkish series stars so you never miss these heart-to-heart conversations. Hit that button, flip on the bell, and let's step right into the center of this story, where what matters most is the essence of how two people meet, grow, and choose each other in the simplest, most revealing ways. When we talk about Elçin and Barış, our minds drift immediately to that undeniable chemistry they've shared on screen, to that quicksilver rhythm in their banter, and to the easy trust that seems to color every behind-the-scenes glimpse we've ever seen. But the magnetism that makes us watch is not just performance, it's the meaning woven into how they speak about one another, the consistency with which admiration and tenderness show up, even when they're only answering a question about work. And that's what's worth unpacking. Beyond the individual firepower of their talent and the charisma they carry so effortlessly, there's a tone in their public words, a gentle emphasis, a mindful pause here and there, that evokes something honest and quietly strong. Often the most telling lines are not dramatic confessions, but careful acknowledgments delivered in a voice that feels grounded, patient, and real. Let's be crystal clear about our intention. We're not here to pry into private details, to cross lines that shouldn't be crossed, or to chase empty gossip. That isn't who we are at Turkish series stars. What we want is to listen closely to how they've chosen to speak in public, what they highlight, what they celebrate, and what they protect, and then reflect on the shape of that love they hint at. Is it a fire that began with thunderbolt passion and mutual awe? Is it a steady flame kindled over time, rooted in friendship, respect, and deep understanding? Or could it be that rare blend of both, where excitement and serenity coexist, where sparks fly even as the foundation remains solid and calm? Every time Elçin mentions Barış, there's a trace of admiration that never feels forced. It's not about spotlighting his popularity or repeating the obvious praise about his looks or success. It's about his discipline, the care he brings to a set, the patience he has with a long day and a complicated scene, the way he creates a safe space for a partner to breathe and be brilliant. And when Barış speaks about Elçin, there's a quiet pride there too, an appreciation for her instinct, her quick intelligence, her humor that can cut tension in half, and her courage to try something unexpected. This is the language of respect, and respect is the cornerstone of love that lasts. You can hear it in passing comments and in moments that aren't trying to be memorable. It's as if they carry a shared code, a private shorthand that we, as observers, catch only in fragments, yet those fragments feel cohesive every time. Think about the clips you've seen, the interviews where their eyes say as much as their answers, the candid snapshots at a premiere or a wrap party where they lean in a little closer without noticing. The statements that lodge themselves in our chest aren't always the ones framed as declarations. They're the ones where a small detail slips through. A reference to a habit the other has, a look that says we've been through a lot and we learned. A simple thank you, said with sincerity and no performative flourish, can carry more intimacy than 100 dramatic promises. When Elçin quietly applauds Barış's focus or steadiness, the subtext is clear, you make the space around you better. And when he describes her timing, her discipline, and the spark she brings to a scene, he's acknowledging not just talent, but heart. Beyond the interviews, there's the way they show up for each other's work. That proud smile at a screening. The careful attention during a Q&A. The willingness to cheer loudly for a project that doesn't involve both of them. And then there's the other side, the late-night days, the setbacks, the tough calls. You don't need a direct statement to see how someone stands beside you when a shoot gets complicated or a plan falls apart. The support might be private, but its traces are visible in how relaxed the other becomes, how a laugh returns, how confidence steadies. When actions and words align, when affection is both spoken and lived, the impact is unmistakable. The feeling reaches us through the screen and reminds us why we root for them. So, what do those words of Elçin about Barış really tell us? They paint a portrait of a man who inspires her, who gives her strength without overshadowing her voice, who challenges her to take up space she's earned, and who quietly says, "I'm here, keep going." They suggest a bond that didn't rush the beginning and doesn't rush the middle. It's a companionship practiced in real time, built through choices, through quiet rituals, through patience. It's the confidence to be vulnerable, the willingness to say, "This is where I'm unsure, this is where I need you," and the equal willingness to listen when the roles reverse. That level of transparency is rare. It's the kind of intimacy that grows not from spectacle, but from showing up over and over, even when the cameras aren't rolling. Now comes the part that turns the lens back on us. What lessons can we lift from the way they speak and move around each other? I think the heart of it is radical honesty paired with steady appreciation. In the grind of our daily routines, we slip into a habit of assuming our person knows how we feel. We stop naming the things we admire. We forget to say thank you for the quiet, unglamorous support that carries us through a tiring week. Watching Elçin and Barış, we're reminded to keep love audible, alive in the words we choose, clear in the gratitude we don't postpone. The big gestures have their place, but so does that soft sentence before sleep, the midday text that says "I'm proud of you," the simple acknowledgement that I see your effort and it matters. And we can't ignore the world they move in, a place where social media amplifies noise and scrutiny often pushes people toward curated perfection. In that climate, authenticity is both vulnerable and brave. What makes their dynamic compelling is not constant revelation, but thoughtful boundaries. They let their work speak loudly and their affections speak clearly, without feeding the machine that wants more than they owe. There's wisdom in choosing silence over spectacle, in protecting a connection from the weight of expectations. When a couple makes room for individual growth while protecting their shared center, love becomes a force that lifts rather than limits. From the patterns we can trace, it's safe to say they value essence over surface. Beyond the beauty, beyond the fame, there's a deep attention to character, the way someone treats a crew member, the patience they bring to a problem, the integrity with which they hold a promise. That's where admiration becomes devotion, where affection matures into something that can weather surprise and fatigue. And when either of them puts this into words, whether through a graceful compliment or a candid reflection, what they're offering is a model for how we might better see and celebrate the people we love. It's extraordinary how a handful of well-placed words can reshape a day. When Barış describes a quality in Elçin that he trusts, or when she notes the steadiness she leans on in him, we feel permission to be that precise in our own relationships. Are we naming what we value, or are we letting the familiar go unspoken? Are we making room for the truth even when it asks us to face our fear of being too much or not enough? Honest language keeps a relationship awake. It catches us before we drift into autopilot and brightens the space between two people who've chosen to be one another's home base. In the end, the love in Barış's heart, glimpsed through what he shares and how he stands by her, looks like a devotion built on authenticity and daily acts of care. It's not a love anxious to prove itself. It's a love content to be true, to be patient, to be consistent. It respects the person in front of it and celebrates the artist, but never confuses the two. It's a union where praise isn't performative, where kindness doesn't need a stage, and where support is unshakable precisely because it's practiced in the small moments as much as the big ones. This is what leaves us reflecting long after an interview clip ends, the quiet power of a bond that speaks softly and carries real weight. We've traced how genuine admiration keeps affection alive, how respect for individuality expands love instead of constricting it, and how honest communication is not only romantic, but necessary. We've seen these themes shimmer in the words that Elçin shares about Barış, and in the steady echoes of his words about her. Their presence together offers a mirror, asking us to consider the tone of our own relationships, the intimacy of our language, and the courage it takes to both cherish and say so. Thank you for joining this reflection here on Turkish Series Stars. I hope today's conversation offered you a new angle, a gentle nudge to speak what you feel, and a reminder that the best love stories are often written in whispers rather than headlines. Now I want to hear from you. Which words, whether from a public figure you admire or from someone in your life, stayed with you the longest? What gestures taught you the most about how love endures? Share your thoughts below. I read them all and I love seeing how these stories resonate with you. If this exploration gave you something to hold on to, give the video a like, pass it along to a friend who might need a spark, and of course, subscribe to Turkish series stars so you're ready for the next chapter. There's so much more to discover, more stories, more reflections, more moments that ask us to listen closely and feel deeply. Until next time, may your day be filled with tenderness, and may you find the words that keep your own love alive.